Hello, kids. A somewhat warm Friday evening in New York City. I am doing some random stuff and have been sort of rolling through Korfezn't today to get a sample of what's going on because we have that whole upcoming event where it is an event queue, and I figured not talk a little bit about what goes into being okay at Corfez because I actually really love it. Been soloing it for quite a while, and um, yeah, no, it's really not as scary as people think it is, as long as like you've got some good stuff going on. Um, it's really the only major TFO aside from Shattered Alliance that really. I'll take that statement back. That's not true. There are an amount of elite TFOs that actually challenge your durability, and a lot of people just aren't ready for that. Um, Having a good damage output is a pretty understood thing. Like, there's a lot of focus on output, and um, having good durability that makes sense, is space efficient and accessible isn't really something that a lot of people know too much about. So we're going to talk a bit about blending your build together to have good output while still being alive. We'll show off some piloting things, some things that are kind of not the standard. Orphez requires that you really think on your feet and stay reactive. But we're all gonna get into that. I'm gonna take a beat real quick before we start doing anything. We'll get right on it. I've also been tweaking my setup a bit. Um, since the other day, I've got some noise suppression baked in now, so if like y'all could give me a review on the audio quality as we go through. I noticed in the playback on YouTube that about part of the way through the stream, my audio, my mic audio got like a little tinny, a little watery. So if that's present, let me know. Um, Otherwise, let's get started talking about Corfez. I guess we'll start out just by like doing a quick review of what I'm bringing um to this first run, and then just straight up do one, and then we can talk about what that environment looks like. So let me just boot my Oscar live parser because I haven't done that. I love when it does that. Give me a second. Sometimes the uh OBS doesn't like to like find the right window. Set my Oscar and 1 second. There we go. Okay, that's better. So this is the Armstrong I was using the other day. I've actually kind of like really like it. One of those things where like you start doing something, you start flying a ship for like a reason, like because this was just gonna be on the cryptic stream. But I'm actually like really comfortable in this ship, and when you find that, like you just kind of sit with it, right? Like it's not the best option. There's no override subsystem safeties, so like my aux cap isn't going up, and so like I'm not getting maximum DPS out of it, but it just feels good, you know? The maneuverability of it is, like, right where I kinda like it to be for ships like this. Um, yeah, no, it's one of those funny little things. Like, the bridge isn't perfect, a little overspent on some spaces. I wish I had a lieutenant tactical so I could run, FA 3, and still have, like, the dummy triggers I need, but I can't, so I'm not. But, uh, yeah, no, it just goes to show, like, you know, having a little bit of inconvenience in a part of the build is fine, like, you just adapt. Um, yeah, so on this build, the durability is kind of light, but I have the output to make up for it. Like, we're at a point at high-end DPS, where a lot of the durability comes from output-driven things. Like, specifically in my case here, it's really just energy refrequencer. It's getting me, like, 1,500, HPS, and then just the innate, combat hull regen. Let's see what it is real quick. We're at, so 205, 180, so it's 180. With a hull cap of, let's throw Jevenite on, the hull cap of 144, 147 rather. So with my calculator, let's just do the quick math here. 147, 396 times 1.8 divided by 60. That's 4.4k HPS happening anyways, just there. Plus, you know, the 1,500, I'm doing, like, you know, 6k HPS just there. I could still get alpha'd through. That's where, like, being, you know, aware of your surroundings is a big deal. So in Korfez, the biggest threat, everyone knows this, is Polaron bombardment. So, like, I don't sit in the middle of a Polaron bombardment and let myself get nuked, you know? I see it coming, it takes a little bit to deploy, I'm still moving. I'm not gonna sit there and take it on the chin, that's not what this build is. You can build that way. You can sacrifice output and build enough that you can just sit there and take those hits. I don't think that's necessary, although, like, for people with less resources, having a little bit of that makes sense simply because that kind of durability is somewhat more accessible, I think, than, like, the really strong output tools. So we'll take a look at that. We're going to be running Corfez a few times tonight with various builds. I haven't really done any planning for this, but, like, we're going to build live. Like, I'm going to show you the thought process live. So here we go. Let's do a quick queue. Also of note here, I've got Evolve going on. When your force shield is, you know, lowered, you get capped DRR out of it. Why am I in this? I'm in the right place. Not paying attention. All right, so let's go into Corfez. See how long it takes for that to pop. Now, knowing me, I will probably make a mistake and blow up. I don't want to, and I usually don't, but, you know, I'm on stream now, and embarrassment is how streams work. But I'm not going to overtank just for that. Got a lot going here to mitigate some of that too. Like, you've got Sensor Baffler on this build, which is a placate. It's not a strong placate. Most placates don't survive high DPS players. They're all fragile for the most part, and the damage cap on them is hilariously low for our kind of output. It exists. Like, I've got, if I wanted to tap that again, I've got hazard emitters on this build giving me, like, a couple hundred HPS more, plus a little bit of res for, like, downtimes. It's there because there's not much else I could have in this lot that makes sense. Like, I could throw on Doc or DRB, but I'm moving too much for DRB on this build. This is kind of a swoopy build, which is usually not what you do. But because of the damage environment of Corfez and the fact that I'm kind of light on spike survival, it makes sense to have a little bit extra. What's my... yeah, I've gotten a rule on here. I could probably get away with dropping one of my Borgdoffs and adding Doll. That'd be a few hundred extra APS. No worries, bud. Ox cannons are awesome. I love ox cannons. Um, I'm like firmly of the mind right now that like a combination of the ships that can run ox cannons right now and where Twinkling Lights is and where EPG is, that I think honestly that ox cannons are like the best archetype for EPG right now. You just do really well with them. Um, there's too many compromises in builds to get like kinetic assisted EPG to work. I think they just don't pan out. I think it's just much simpler to run ox cannons when you can. But anyways, where was I? Yeah, I could run Photonic Officer, but I don't need to. I'm running Spirit of Sacrifice, which is just consistency. It's pure consistency. You know, on a high uncom build anyways, right? I could run like Polarized Hull, or I guess I could throw Tychons out there, which wouldn't do much of anything. PSS is like worse than Hazard Emitter's durability with this kind of setup. Like Energy Siphon is too inconsistent to like care about. Charge Particle Burst isn't doing anything for me. Much you can really throw in here on this build that would make sense. I'm just gonna Hazard Emitters. Like Structural Analysis is like a little bit of DRR to like one target because it spreads every 2 seconds, right? But like whatever I hit with it isn't lasting 2 seconds, so it's never gonna spread. It's why I don't like Structural Analysis on high-end builds as a sec def proc. It doesn't spread because everything dies, right? Like the goal is to kill things faster. This takes time. Whereas like the two that I really toss up between are Charged Particle Burst and Destabilizing Resonance Beam. DRB because of its damage and it's constantly reapplying over time as things die. Yeah, I mean, Ox Cannons do, like, cost Ox, but, like, if you're running an Ox, like a twin battery, or like whatever, you've got a lot of Ox anyways, and like losing a little bit of Ox scaling every now and then, because like you're firing 4 cannons, and like the turrets aren't drawing from that. You're losing some Ox, but like if you're playing well, right? I drop my bomb as I'm approaching. My guns haven't even started cycling yet, so, and it's EPG stuff's all snapshotting Ox on cast, right? So like as long as you like, if you might lose a little bit overall, but like you're getting with the way I run Ox cannons, I'm running Twinkling Lights. That's, you know, getting 3 different procs from the various Ox cannons, because they run Disruptor, Phaser, and Plasma Ox. And then you've got some turrets in the back, so you're getting like 5 stacks. So that's 60 DRR. That's already a lot of boosting going on, especially if you're on a ship that doesn't have T7s or something, and you know you're never guaranteed to get T7s in a run. It ends up being like in your favor. Like, sure, you've lost some Ox on that, but you're snapshotting. You can keep an eye on things. You pop your battery, and you're running a quartermaster, so you've got a ton of extra Ox anyways. So like you just toss your stuff down. It's gonna do well. Like that's like there's this like kind of notion I've seen floating around. If this isn't being applied optimally, I shouldn't use it. Like superior area denial on carriers. On a high-end carrier build, you've got like your hanger pets that you want to like buff really well, and you've also got like, you know, the obelisk 4-piece, which has obelisk swarmer drones, which don't benefit from SAD but can catch SAD. And since you only have 12 procs of SAD you can throw out there every cycle, they're absorbing some of the effectiveness. And so some people are like, so well, I'm just not going to use these because it's making it apply not optimally. But the thing is like, so Okay, but, like, having both of them running at the same time is still gonna end up with a better terminal performance overall than dropping one or the other because it isn't like, some of it's stealing procs, right? Like, the benefit you're gonna gain to your hanger pets from having them always catch sad from not having obelisk swarmers there from the 4Ps is gonna be lower than just having the swarmers there and losing some sad procs, right? Like, it's not, missing the forest for the trees. And that's kind of like a thing that just happens all the time. This isn't not optimized, it's not catching every buff. Well, some of it's not doing it the best it can, but, like, you're still getting it, right? You're still getting the buff. Is getting the buff at a not perfect way, like, worse than not having it? And oftentimes, no, like, you should still have it. It's just not doing it the best way possible. Huh. I'm surprised Corfez hasn't popped already. It's been popping pretty consistently all day. Well, I mean, while that's going, we can talk about durability plans while we're waiting for that to pop. Um, One of the most common high-end ways to get some, like, I'm in trouble stuff going on that everyone knows and loves is DPRM. Um, Let me just grab some other things while I'm here. Comparison. Some new tools that are playing really well. Oop, there's the pop. So we'll talk about those when we get back. Go. Ah, okay. So I'm gonna probably get a little cagier about talking while I'm playing. I still haven't mastered the running my mouth while about um thinking about flying. So we're gonna work on that skill together. All right, chat. This illogical. So a big part of dealing with Corfez is not contrary to like a lot of other content, unless you're really well developed and using a couple kinds of builds and really competent and confident, you should not stop moving. This does mean that sometimes you're splashing damage across arcs in ways you don't really want to, but we take it anyways. Because you can't do a deeps if you're dead. And because of the nature of full-on bombardment, it's best to keep moving. Oh, fuck, I forgot to turn on my log. Alright, here we go. There's the polar bombardment. Gonna keep moving. Gonna keep moving. Am I getting Sigma'd? Fuck. Okay. That's not good, but we're gonna keep flying. Alright. Does look like we have decent other players in here. Good. So I probably won't be carrying. I also, you know, screwed up pretty hard by not having parser going at the beginning, so we don't actually know how well I'm actually doing, which kind of sucks. But we'll see what happens.
Our Benthan allies.
Ooh, Benthans. Okay. I love this one. Alright.
The Benthans need your help to reach the planet.
Well, as far as I know, Sigma has been figured out. It's just gonna take time to get to live. Yeah, I'm definitely getting Sigma. Gonna fly off plane real quick and try and get someone to notice. Let's get back to the battlefield. Back in it. Those are clear, those are not. Let's go over here. He's out. Right. Okay, let's go here. Ah, good. We've clawed our performance back. over here to spawn in. Okay. Let's get down here, start clearing these things out. Two. Problem. All right. Let's see what we get for round 2.
Stop the established on breaking through our defense lines.
Asteroid Field. I'm actually more afraid of Asteroid Field than I am of Benthan. They have a lot more on the field, like proportionally, that can hull room bombard, and you get more constriction anchors here. So it's quite a bit scarier, for me at least. Shoot. And there's like opportunities for more targets to show up that you're capable of handling, because there's like big waves that can overlap. Dude, I'm anchored, I'm anchored, I'm anchored. And that's why we don't stop moving. We don't stop moving, and this build really, really likes its play kicks. Might actually add in Yielding Fame. Be afraid of scouts. Be very afraid of scouts. Literally the scariest thing they have. Like, people are worried about the big ships with the polar arm bombardment. Scouts are the scariest thing they have because they can constriction anchor. Okay. Line broken.
We're pushing the Vaadwaur back, but they're not going to leave without a... We're pushing the Vaadwaur back.
Oh. And that's a kill. Alright, so I think I really did manage to demonstrate what I was trying to get across with this. This build can, as long as you don't get pinned, will survive Korfez, right? And it's a combination of not stopping to apply maximum output, because like I could park and I could make sure all my guns are perfectly in, but I'm doing enough, right? I'm doing enough. But I have enough passive regeneration rate to handle the IDPS. I just need to not get pinned and spiked down. And that's, you know, what good gameplay is about. I need to not be scared of that. But you may not be able to do that, right? You might get caught, you might make a mistake, and not everyone wants to live in a world where like, hey, that mistake gets you killed. You want to be able to like compensate for that. 100% valid, right? Let's talk about it. What could we do to pull back on output here, but increase your durability in an efficient and effective way? Because I see a lot of builds that are essentially just turtles, and they've like converted so many slots over to durability, but like not in great ways, not in ways that actually make you a ton more durable. It just feels that way because you're putting a lot of investment in, so you expect a lot out, and that's just not how it works all the time. So let's talk about survivability in elite content, where there is actual difficulty. Because, like, let's be real, ISE is not that scary. The incoming damage on ISE, a lot of it's shields, so like you get a lot of scary vibes, but like shield only damage drains, they aren't actually that scary. Big spikes are. Hive does have that. The spheres can shoot off really nasty torpedo spreads that can really hurt you. If you don't have fireball escape, just the constant warp core breaching of Hive can be really scary. You've got the lance and the destructor, devastator, disintegrator torpedo thingies off the pickles, and feedback pulse from the pickles and the queen, all very scary high damage things. But they aren't like the kind of output just normal enemies can do on like Fez or Zenkevi front with their torpedo spreads. Any of that. Like there's some way scarier. Like the one of the scariest things out there is the end bosses of Shattered Peace. Those things are nasty. Because they stay on the field for a while and they can lance you, AP lance you for like a mil. So like it hurts. So let's go through this, right? As I've talked about before, instant first thing that you can do, not do what I'm doing with the Kittimer Shield and the Tholian Core, right? So let's quickly swap over to Oscar. All right, pull this out. Take a look at what that actually got me, right? So the anti-proton retaliation got me 9, so that's almost 10. So that's with that added is like a little 8, so 18, uh 24, a little under, probably around 30K. I didn't need that, right? And for a lot less stress on the run, because like, so the disco shield gives you a little defensive punch by giving you some shield debuff. It's not that big of a deal. It's there, but it's not going to like recover, 30K. But I didn't need 30K, right? I didn't actually need this. I'm not pushing a number here, and that much damage isn't that huge of a deal. Being able to be a little less pressured, not even a little less, a lot less, almost doubling my passive regen. If you remember, Disco is 120%. We established that my combat regen in this is 180%. So, like, it's a significant chunk you're doing once more again. So, like, you're getting 2/3 of your current combat regen again. That's a lot, you know? Um, that won't stop you from getting alpha, though, right? It will help you deal with being caught or being a little overwhelmed, but it won't save you from alpha, which you need much faster regen for that period stacked on. So like, um, that's one of the reasons why we like DPRM. DPRM gives you 500% combat regen for the duration, which is 20 seconds, right? Um, Again, quick math here, just to show you. Close the calculator. Silly me. Back. We're back. Calculator's back. All right, so let's do the math again. 147, 322 times 5 divided by 60. Well, 12,000 HPS, right? That's a lot. That is a ton. And it also has the added benefit of bonus DRR. We really like bonus DRR. Why do we like bonus DRR? Well, damage resistance rating is asymptotic. Do we know what that means, chat? Do we remember our algebra? Come on, someone say something. All right. Well, an asymptote is a mathematical curve that approaches infinity, right? So for DRR, as you approach 75% resistance rate percentage, like the conversion from the score of the damage resistance rating to the actual resists, as you approach 75%, the amount of DRR it takes to get more damage resistance approaches infinity. So you can't ever actually get to 75% resists. Like you will be 74.9999999999999999999, right? But you've definitely seen damage resistance percentages above 75%. That is because we have bonus damage resistance rating. That is a stat that plugs into the formula outside of the math that creates that curve. That means you can now exceed 75% resists with another number. One of the reasons why we like evolved so much is that when your shields are out, the damage resistance it gives, which I believe is 730 at max, 630 rather at max, brings you to around 70% ish on its own, right? So let's dump my shields with Spirit of Sacrifice. See what my resists go to. Yeah, 72.6ish, 72 and change percent across the board. As my shields return, I lose it because it scales with shields. But at peak, with my shields down, I am getting nearly cap, right? Um, let's drop in another thing that we can use here. That's sort of in the durability category, and much more accessible than DPRM, is Adaptive Emergency Systems. It provides 50 bonus DRR, similar to the 100 bonus DRR that DPRM provides. It also provides a similar um, damage bonus, 30% Cat 2, as opposed to the 40% Cat 2, which only exists while you're above 80% hull. Everyone kind of forgets that. AES also doubles its bonus if you're below 50% hull. I think that effects increased by 50% applies to both stat lines. I have not checked this in literally half a decade. I don't remember 100%. So for the moment, let's operate under the idea that it's half of a DPRM. But like just with that, let's dump my shields. Actually, no, let's start with this. Let's hit this. So the 50 bonus gave us like 30% on its own. It's pretty cool. Oh, sorry, I forgot to switch back. That's my bad. I need to get more used to that. Oscar, here we go. Call me out if it looks like I've forgotten to switch off of Oscar. I need to get in that habit. So we've got this here going on here, right? 60%, and I'm gonna let this recycle because I, got distracted and screwed up. So we just gotta wait for this to come back. So with all the other stuff that's going on, let's just pop a yes. That brings us to 60%. Now let's just dump my 64, 63, 54. It brought us from the 30s to the 60s. That's a good chunk from just 50 DR bonus DRR, which on this build, we'll have to go see how much regular DRR I have, but I got 15. All right, let's dump the shields. Look at that, I'm at 81% now. Remember, with no shields, I was at 72%. Now I'm at 81. That's, that's a good chunk right there, especially over that cap, right? Let's see what DPRM does with an additional 50% DRR, bonus DRR. All right, let's just let these all cycle real quick. All right, so let's charge it. Hold on, I'm gonna let everything else fail first after a bit so that we have like baseline. We're back down probably to around resting, which is in the 30s. Let's pop DPRM. DPRM brings us to the high 60s. And then let's just bump our shields. 86%, right? Only 15% of all incoming damage is getting through to our hull. And this doesn't account for like shield resistance reduction, which as long as you have shield cap, does pull some stuff. Since we dumped spirit in this case, it wouldn't be any, but it's there. And there's some other sources that we can look into. There's some tricks I will show you in a bit. But this is like why we care about efficiency in slots. Like, if you look at how much DRR you're getting from like some basic consoles, right? So let's go pull up Trillium, right? Everyone's heard of Trillium. Trillium is 17.5 all DRR, right? At rest, it's 43 point. Let's see what happens when I pull that off, right? So remember, 17.5 DRR, 37.9. So 38 to 43. That's 5% at this level. Like, it starts to really fall off, right? And like Trillium has some shield cap and it's got some hull cap, and so like it's not like useless. Like let's see how much hull cap we lose. Takes a second for it to update. So 127,639 to 133. So like 6K. You can do the math on like how much extra regen you're getting out of that, but like it's definitely like a starter tool, right? It takes up an engineering slot, which you want from mags typically. Um, and 17.5 DRR is like okay. Like, but like when you have one, you don't really need more armor consoles, especially like with endeavors now. Like people undersell. Like you're getting 25 DRR out of each of these resist endeavors. That's like a good chunk. That's a good baseline. Like I don't run the armor nodes anymore, right? Because like these bring you up to 25 if you're running all three nodes total. I can just not run them, you know, because like these are like people talk about diminishing returns all the time. Damage resistance rating is pretty much one of the only true diminishing returns in the game. Everything else is just saturation. Um, you are for each point invested, you get back less, right? That is with diminishing returns, and it falls off pretty hard the further up you go. Um, pinged. Um, so that's why we don't like that. That's why we don't like stack a ton of armor consoles. They just lose value the more you equip. Let's talk about some other tools here. So we've got adaptive emergency systems. We've got DPRM. You pop DPRM when you're in trouble, and you will tank most things. You can still pop. Don't just sit there on a build that you haven't added additional durability to otherwise, and just like, oh, I can just survive this polar arm bombardment with DPRM. DPRM's giving you the breathing room to relocate, right? You can still get like held again and slapped with another polar arm bombardment while you're like, oh, I'm just taking it on the chin. Don't do that. don't don't be that idiot, you know? Um and we've got protomatter field projector. Um it's half the regeneration of EPRM. It doesn't give you an offensive boost. It is a fairly reasonable AoE. It's 3 kilometers, and it affects your friends as well as yourself. Um, it scales with regen restoration. So like with the amount of hull restoration I have right now, I'm getting 280%. Let's give myself a quick 100 skill boost to see how well it scales. All right, so let's hold on. Let's go here and see the best values. If you're evaluating anything, this set of tooltips in the powers menu is the most accurate one you will typically get. Um, don't trust anything on your tray. Some things don't apply while they're on the tray. Just look at it in here. This is going to give you the best numbers. So 280%. Let's run quantum singularity manipulation to get a quick 100 skill boost. Improve any further? Oh, it's only the shield because that's an edge power. I'm gonna be right back. Then we're gonna add some hull restoration because I did a dumb. Okay, because I did it let's do this real quick. It scales off of hull restoration. Let's just get some repair stuff in, right? Um, that's hull repair. That's hull repair. Hull repair. Yep. So this is gonna get us like 120, sorry, 160-ish, a little less than that, extra repair. So let's go look at protomatter and see how much that brought us up. So 420% all regeneration, like just from adding 140-ish still. That's not bad at all. It's not quite the DPRM, but like, um, it's a good tool. It's just also an Epic Phoenix token. So like, if you were here back when it came out, the Lucari Hokun came out in what, 2016, 2017? Have it account wide. Otherwise, it is a Phoenix token, Epic Phoenix token to get, but it's there. It's an available tool. The only downside is since it is an AO like a PB AOE ally heal and it's percentage based, um try not to get confused because it will suddenly heal every enemy around you for so much HPS that they become effectively unkillable by anyone. Um, because again, it's percentage heal, and NPCs have way more HP than we do. So let's say, think about where confuses come from. Say, I don't know, the Borg Queen and Hive with adding antimatter spread. You get confused. All of a sudden, the Borg Queen is unkillable for 20 seconds, or at least until you become no longer confused. Not great, right? So you just have to be cognizant of that. It's a strong, strong, strong percentile heal, but if you get confused, you can't kill anything within 3 kilometers of you. So just be aware of that. Oscar does not currently have a way to sum up damage by type. You would have to do that. All right, so let's look at some other of these heals. We've got the classic everyone knows, field absorptive frequency generator. This is really good. It is a proc, a chance-based proc, but it is 2.5%. But unlike most procs, it's per shot. This is why I typically recommend running these in combination with dual cannons, since those will fire the most often and give you more rolls. The more haste you get, the better this ends up being. So like it's restoring your shields for 200% of the shot that triggers them. Like just real quick, you go take a quick peek. What's my like average is here? My guns do like 20 to 60k, and that's fire at will 1 beams, but let's just say beams for a second. Calculator, so like, 30k times 2 is 60,000 heals. I don't have that many shield cap. So you're just always refilling your shield all the way back up. And you could like get more shield cap, like to like 100 skill would it scales so poorly. 100 shield skill will get you, you know, 3k more. But like I've seen builds with like 30k shields. There's a way to do that, but there's only more shield cap with Valdor means you're getting more effective like wall between you and the damage. Like this could synergize well with more shield biased builds, but typically we just run it with our normal sort of distributed durability to keep those shields rolling. And shields have its own resist profile that comes in and hits the damage before it hits your hull, as long as the shield is still absorbing damage. So it's a good tool. We've also now got sort of the same thing but different out of Epsilon Limiter Overload that came off of the Armstrong, or was it the Newton? One of the two bigger Kelvin ships. Um, while uh, it's active, outgoing damage restores your shields for 2% of the damage dealt. That's not so. That's okay. Like that's really good. The control application restores 2% on maximum hull with a 5-second cooldown. That kind of really sucks. I wish that line wasn't as bad as it is. Um, the on critical out gain 10% of your max hull is temp hull for 15 seconds. Like that's okay. It keeps the temp hull rolling pretty often. But like temp HP has no resist, so typically we need it in a significant magnitude. The big deal here is the outgoing damage restoring shields is 2% of the damage dealt. If you're doing 500,000, and this is all damage sources, this is why this stands out. Valdor only cares about guns. This takes any damage source and feeds it back to your shields. So if you're doing, a million DPS, 2% of that is coming into your shields while it's up. So like, so 20k shield healing per second, right? To all 4 arcs. That's really good. It's not consistent like that, right? So like it's, for instance, I don't know if it has an internal lockout. It hasn't been as consistent as I would have liked it to have been, so I suspect there might be. I'm not certain. That's just a hunch. Um, we've got, but it does have that thing where you don't need to be like a cannon build to get the most out of it. You can use this on an EPG build. You can use this on a kinetics build and get continuous flow shield healing, which is the weaknesses of those other builds. Um, and it also just has good passive. You're not threatening, you get 6% crit chance, which is like one of the highest crit chances you can get out of any console passive. The ones that we used to consider good, right? Like Ultimate, 4.9, 3.9 even. So like 6% crit H out of a console passive, big deal these days. And 15% max hull cap. Like, that's good. That's a really good console. If you can keep it rolling, if you've got the ability to keep it down to its 30-second or near enough to its 30-second duration, it's like really strong to run for a durability tool. It will keep you alive. On the more budgety side of things, while still trying to keep damage output, I really like hull image refractors. Not for the click. There are some tricks you can do with the click, but it's in combination with the Colony Protomatter consoles, right? Get one of those on. And these, whenever you press a firing mode, an energy weapon firing mode, you get a roll at an amount of hull healing over time. It's 5% of max hull every 2 seconds for 10 seconds, and it stacks up to 10 times. Typically, you're not going to get that kind of stacking, but like if you replace 3 of them, I typically say like 2 to 3 tac consoles with 2 to 3 procs. You are getting like the same amount of cat 1 out of mag, 39.4, 39.4. They're pulling from the same table. But let's get a roll here. This is why they're a little rough. You can get hosed and not get one on a go through. So like every 15 seconds you get a chance to get a big influx of heals, but it just may not happen. It is purely chance based. There we go. We just got one, and now we're getting all of these temp going on. And it was only one roll. So like let's do that again. The host again. It's actually unusual. I usually with 3 consoles get 1 per go. Yeah, I mean that's the vulnerability of its being, accessible, and it's a pressure heal. It's not a spike heal, but it can give you a lot of buffer. Because, like, even though there's no resists on this, like, if you manage to get it to stack up to, like, half your hull cap, like, it's still a quarter of your if you're at 50% resists, half your hull cap is still a quarter of your hull cap just tacked on extra to as temporary buffer. That's real nice. That's good. That's solid. If you're going into elites and you're at like the lower end of development, I really like this as a way to stay alive. That's accessible for someone who hasn't spent a ton of Zen on getting things. It works. It's a little inconsistent. It can leave you high and dry. You don't rely on it. It's just there as a good pressure tool. Um, actually, let me just on for a second. I forget if this does. Another option. I've talked about this before last time. Concealed repairs. Concealed repairs. When you cloak or placate, which in this case, jam sensors. You have jam sensors. You should have it as an uncon anyways. It's there. Repairs 33% of your hull over 10 seconds. It has a knock-on effect of doing some bridge officer cooldown, which if you're lower development, you may not have perfectly tight yet. So that's a really good, like, I'm in danger anyways, so maybe I want to make sure my cooldowns are perfect. For 10 seconds with a 45-second lockout. I just go into this. Go into my little testing zone. If you aren't aware of this, you can use Doomsday Device in the Klingon War arc for true fed characters as a testing zone, because it has static targets that do not die and also take damage that don't just send back an immune. There are some other places in the game where you can shoot at things, but they send back an immune, so they are not valuable for data. They're just good for like getting pretty shots and stuff. But this is a good way to do damage value testing and things. Figure it out real quick.
We're counting on you.
All right. For birds of prey, do not die. Their shields constantly regenerate. You can use them to get some good information. Please pop the thing.
Warning. Ship is
Yes, it does. Ooh, good, good, good. So this is also going to stack up on top of Hall image refractors. I was pretty sure it did. I just wanted to make sure. So yeah, and less than 1 million on the exchange. Usually, whenever I mention it, it jumps because that's how the works, and it's obnoxious. But it is a good tool for going into harder content with less going on. So with all of these things, there's other tools that we can talk about. Like there's overloaded sniff linkages, there's non-baryonic. Sniff linkages is from one of the sea store ships. One of the Discovery battle cruisers or dreadnoughts or something. Maybe the Europa. It's one of them. Let me look it up real quick. My memory is so bad at this kind of stuff. Europa. It is the Europa. Cool. Good job, Brain. Non-baryonic, I think, was maybe the Baron. Like buffer field. Non-baryonic buffer field. Seneca. Okay. Um, those are two very strong, like durability consoles that don't actually like. So like Sif gives you some hull regeneration, but it also gives you a ton of like bonus damage resistance rating. It also reduces the post resistance damage that your teammates in range would take by half. So, like, it's usually a tank tool to make everyone else more durable by offloading some of that damage um, from them onto you as a dot. Um, you take that damage as so like it's layers of reduction. So like you take half the damage that was prevented, and that gets applied to you, and then you also have a bunch of BDRR and you have regeneration going. As long as you have a strong durability plan in place, anyways, this is a good option. Um, and Baryonic does sort of the same thing. Um, so 30 seconds to self-10 allies within 5 kilometers. All damage above 10% of max health is converted to a lesser amount of um, radiation damage over time. 10% of it is applied each second for 5 seconds. So like it's cut in half and then applied as a dot. Um, and then it's measured pre-resists, and it is subject to shield resistances, but you can't be immune. Will take that damage. But like that's a lot of layers of like damage resistance, and you can pair these together. Like I have this combo is how I have tanked the burst on the crystalline entity on elite for an entire team. I prevented millions of damage and cut it down to something that I could just heal through by layering these together. It's a very good combo. A little bit overkill. Great for like a support player combo. These are both accessible consoles. As long as you got a good like thing going on, you can make any team relatively immortal with it. All right, so let's see here. So we want to make this build a little bit more durable than I had last time. So like, let's throw on Disco. Um, you know what? I'm going to. Do I want the added threat of a budding alliance? I really like a budding alliance, even if you like, oh, hey, you're taunting, so you're getting threat, but like it's a free like um. What's reverse shield polarity here? So like RSP2 65%, RSP1. Do I have it on this? Yeah, RSP1 is 50%. These scale with shield restoration, so they do get better. It's fixed. So, like, it's weaker than RSP1, but it's always on. Like, if you've built into shields a little bit, that's a really good tool, even if you are taunting. Um, so like it's interesting. It does make you more of a threat, makes things shoot at you more, but you are constantly streaming your shields. There's like I don't like a lot of Starship trait durability tools. There's some out there that like provide other things. Like you've got History will remember. History will remember gives you 30% Cat 1 all and 30% hull regen and 30% max hull and 300% threat gen. Like really great for tanks. That threat gen part falls off if you are not, tanking, if you're not using the threatening stance. Like 30% Cat 1 all is not that much, and 30% hull regen and 30% max hull will do a good chunk of durability stuff, but it isn't going to save you, right? So I don't know. It's in the C store. It can be stacked and it doesn't leave. You don't lose the stacks until you switch maps. So like it's got use, but like I don't know. I'm not a huge fan outside of like heavy tanking. Um, you've got like plot armor, which is like really expensive because it's from a temp. But like let's look at plot armor, right? You get 30k hull restored over 15 seconds. So that's 2k HPS. That's, for while it's up. It's got a 45-second lockout, and it's when you take more than 20% of your max health in 5 seconds, gives you 250 all DRR. As we've established, that's enough, right? 250 is a big number. It removes all hazard debuffs and dots each second. So like it's a good tool. It is a 33% uptime. But like slot competition, right? whole lot of X's. You get twice as much HP slapped at once. So it's gonna like it's basically it's half your hull cap. Get half your hull cap back. It has a much longer cooldown, but it's and they're not filling quite the same role. It's more like whole lot of X's is there to really save your butt. Like it gave you a second chance at life. And now you need to move and deal with the fact that you almost just died. Plot armor is more consistent. But like in the downtime, it's dead, right? It's more pressury, it's not a big slap at once. So like there's a period of time every so often where you can be like stronger than normal or durable than normal. It's fine, right? Like it's good, but I don't like that unreliability on a slot that's so much more valuable than a space trade slot. Right? It kind of justifies itself. It's just so expensive. Reverberant shielding, which happens to be here, I like. I think it's people know about it. I think more people could know about it. It's from the Sagan. It's from the Sagan. The Sagan. It's real simple. When you use feedback pulse, you get reverse shield polarity. When you use reverse shield polarity, you get feedback pulse. The feedback pulse part is whatever. It also doesn't trip things that each one would trip. So like the granted stuff doesn't cascade into granting stuff. But combined with a whatchamacallit, a fabrication engineer reverse shield polarity duty officer, RSP3, chained into like RSP1, or what have you, depending on which rank of feedback pulse and reverse shield polarity you can fit in, gives you can get up to like 100% uptime. You can get near enough to it. You can get like 75% uptime on that, and those are really strong heals. If you've got those rolling, the only thing you really have to worry about is getting spiked through or bleed through damage. Like getting hit by something so overwhelming that the bleed through damage, which is 10% on most shields, 5% on a resilient, kills you. Over time, you get worn down if your hull healing behind that isn't strong enough to keep up with that, which has been a problem for some builds. It also like eats up bridge space. You do need RSP and feedback pulse slotted, so like it's an option. It's a good one. You can build into it. Like this is a really important like tool if you're trying to do like a shield biased durability plan. But it doesn't give you back anything offensively, so like be aware of that. Like feedback pulse is weak. They back in season 13 they killed it dead by stopping reflections from being able to crit off of their output. Semantically, like I get that. The idea is that an incoming crit has hit your ship. Like feedback pulse sends back hits that have come in. All those hits that have come in have already crit or not, right? When the NPC shoots them, they have either fired off a crit or they have not fired off a crit. It hits feedback pulse. Feedback pulse sends that out. It is already either a crit or not. Semantically, I understand that logic. I get it. I don't like it. I miss old feedback pulse. I loved old feedback pulse. I wish they didn't hit it so hard, especially in like the modern age that we have right now. It compared to some of the power we have now, old feedback pulse is nothing. It's really not. You could pair this with attack pattern Delta Prime if you wanted to. The high feedback pulse uptime means that you could chain attack pattern Delta Prime with the DOF that gives you feedback pulse, which I think is a fab engineer, so you can't use a reverse shield polarity fab engineer at the same time, but it is something you could do if you want more of an offensive bias out of this. I've done that before and enjoyed it. It's an option. There's also, let's see here, automated protometer capacitors. I like this. The uptime's a little rough, and the trigger is incoming crit hits, and NPCs have really poor crit rates, so like this can just leave you high and dry. But generally, you can achieve 100% uptime with this, and it's a real big, extra boost of hull regen. We know that we like that. 150% hull regen is a couple thousand HPS. We know this, so like that's nice. That's good. There's some other heals in here that are terrible, so we're not going to look at them. We've talked about like the heals, the output-driven heals from Nerul and Dalrel. Those are usually worth like 300 to 600 HPS each. And since they're continuous, they are like continuous HPS is so much better than like periodic HPS. Like you can get like a 300 HPS Eng team, right? Does not have Eng team on this. Yeah, this is a relatively newer bridge officer, and I never use Eng team these days, so it's not here. But let's like look at it, right? So grab one that I know probably. Yeah, so that. And with my no hull restoration going on, we've got Eng team at 7k. We can use with 100 hull restoration, you can get that up to like 8 or 9. Be cool and call it 10. Without fresh for R&R, 10 every 15. Is 666 HPS. The thing of that is that it's every 15 seconds. So it's not like comparing the average HPS of something that is happening every second or happening many times over, like energy refrequencer or like even hazard emitters while it's up, or anything that's a heal over time. You are not you're having this window gap, right? And team can only hit every 15 seconds. Well, it gave you, 10k health back. What happens if you still keep getting hit in that 15-second window? Well, you're gonna die. Doesn't matter that the HPS is like 666. It's only every 15 seconds. You're gonna die. This is why we really like pressure heals, and like periodic heals need to be good. Periodic heals need to be much better than Eng team is. They need to be able to save you, provide some other benefit. All right, so let's go back to what we were doing, which was making this chunkier. Back here, Disco. Let's create a second loadout. So let's see, how else? The obvious thing here is that I can add in the RAM. Lose some output, get no shit button, right? What else? Like do. I know what I can do. It's gonna take me a little longer. Piezo Pole. I like Piezo Polaron. Piezo Polaron is one of those few genuinely relevant procs in the game. 5% chance to apply Protomatter Regenerative Influx, which is 2.5% max hull per second for 10 seconds. Let's do the math on that, shall we? So at my current hull cap, it's 144 something with Jevonite. So let's go from there. 144,000, right? And then it was 2.5% max haul per second. So let's just times 0.025. That's a big number, isn't it, guys? 3600 HPS for 10 seconds. Not counting the shield regens, whatever. And with high haste and 5 or 6 of these, you can keep this up. Like, this will just stay up. That's real that's real nice, isn't it? Like, there's a lot going on. So let's just switch this to a Polaron build real quick. We'll lose some output. We will. We'll lose some output. We're okay with that. That's what we're doing here. We're making ourselves more durable by changing out some stuff that will lose us some output. We're not going to have broadside beam support as strong as it was, but it will function. So, let's see here. Any of these? I kind of. Do I have any other? Let's just grab some Polaron mags. Okay. So we're losing output to get more comfortable. That's okay. Yep. So this should be like an additional continuous. Let me just quickly batteries and uh crafting. You'll see me pretty often use dual batteries. Don't have to. They cost still. I like them. A lot of us at the high end like them. We like getting slot value. Getting 75 inch power and 75 aux power for 20 seconds every 30 is real nice. So we do. We use them. Cool. And yes. And there we go. We're gonna dive back in to another Fez. This time with a little bit more durability. We'll still do very well, and it'll be very nice, and have a no shit button just in case I get caught. Hey, Chell. Like as I said, more durability this run, less output. It'll be more comfortable, but it'll be something, you know, doable. After this run, we'll go build something on a different platform that's a lot more budget, like really push to see how much you need to do as comfortable. Again, remember, we are working with well-developed endeavors here. I've got 55 PRR capped out. I've got 100% hull regeneration just there. 25% max hull just there. 25% max shields just there. 25% shield hardness just there. That's why I really, really dislike endeavors. Wish I could turn them off for these kinds of demonstrations because it changes ground we're standing on. I wish they'd never added them, but here we are. We gotta live with them. So you need to like pay attention to your own stats. No, Chell, I am not. I like when on the first buffer, like I got exactly what I needed to get, and then just did them if they were incidental. And then the second wave showed up. Then the second wave showed up, and like I've done some. Like eventually, when I have all of the recharge ones, like 10%. I hate that they're so split up, and I know why they did it, but like 10% baseline buff recharge across the board is actually kind of hilarious because we can just like be almost purely passive at this point with a couple, good choices. But or wait here and plan out. But anyone have any like desires for the next run? Like, is there a ship that someone wants to see set up and I can talk about for like how I do this at Corfez at like a lower price point? Like that's what I'm doing tonight. Talking about getting ready for Fez. Waiting for uh picked up some like mag. I mean, yes, actually, like I am probably gonna do that before I log out tonight. Um I brought a Herogen Hunter to Corfez not too long ago on my clean account. Um while I was leveling, doing the whole 0 to 200 thing. Um, I was in there, I did like 50k. I died a few, like the whole team. It was a bad run. Like there was no one above 100k in that run. And we managed to succeed. Um, it was rough. I had to do a lot of like bobbing and weaving, but we did manage to clear Bentham. It was a Bentham run too, so like we managed to clear Bentham. We managed to clear Teray. It was a hard fought run, but like it happened. It worked. Like so, like with a team that even at a low performance point is competent, you can clear Fez. You just might die a lot at certain points. Ugh. But like that build was rated at like 120, 150k ISE at that point. So like I'm I mean I'm not considering. I have largely reconsidered my baseline elite performance benchmark. I think like 200k ISE is the floor. Uh, working off of the 100 to 150, I think that's too low. Having gone through that clean again recently and then applied that to other queues, I think the general estimation of 100 and 150, which is just like the everyone on the team needs to do this much to get by the DPS check at the open of ISE. I think that's not a good enough benchmark for playing elites in general. 200, 250, 300 is like that's where you should be. That's where you should aim for. Comfortable in like feeling that you're contributing. Is like 50k Corfez is just not enough. Because typically it's not paired with the durability you need for that low of a performance envelope.
Vodwar ships have invaded the area around Korfezn't. I will be acting as flag captain for Korfezn't.
Flags there. Ooh. If you're paying attention and you were here for the first run, you'll notice that my hull is significantly more intact. I wasn't really in danger the first run, but this still, like, notably less in trouble. I did get pretty consistent piezo procs out of that. You'll notice a blue shield appears around my hull in a bubble whenever those are going off. I am consistently applying haste and shooting. I will have that running. It is very nice. We do actually have some decent players in here, so that's good. Only got one person who really shouldn't be here. That's pretty solid, all things considered. Hey, I'm still kind of doing, like, around the same kind of output here, right? It's not as strong a little bit, but, like, I am significantly more durable just for those few changes, and I'm still, you know, wrecking face. But, like, you don't need to be pushing the envelope as hard as someone like me does. Like, we really like to push it, because, like, that's what we find fun, but, like, you can be really, really strong, still be doing tremendous amounts of damage, and just be, like, twice as durable with the right investment. Like, let's take a look here, right? Look at my, I'm at 450% combat regen, right? That's really good. That's just with, like, the piezo stuff always on. I'm gonna base dive. I'm gonna try and get into trouble here, and if I can, I'm gonna try to actually eat a full bombardment. Take a look at where my resistors sitting at. I'm at 72%.
Stop the bot marking. Break through our defense line.
That's gonna jump.
Korfezn't.
Oh, solar station. Man, I wish I kind of got the harder ones for this. That's unfortunate. Gonna be real easy. Solar station's really easy. That's... I mean, I just sat in the middle of a bombardment and just ate it. Do it again. Nope, the target died before it can bombard. Sunny. Alright, so we're on warp.
We're pushing the VOD. Pushing the VOD wall back.
Oh, we've got Tachyon Netrons out. This is gonna be nice.
Excellent work. I'll admit, I was skeptical that you and your
I was hoping to get Teray that run, but like the asteroid field is sufficiently dangerous. Like, at no point in that was I ever in fear for myself. Right? And I smashed it. Right? And you could really like cut my output in half, and I'd still have smashed it. Pardon? Let's go look at that, right? So like it did as expected, like lose some output from broadside beam support, like compared to first run. Let me look at it real quick before I show it. I don't know, let's see. So like because of the range management and needing to move around, I wasn't actually doing a ton with it, and I didn't really lose much from it. So let me switch to the Oscar. Show you. So this is the Battle of Korfezn't from before. 539. There was that screw up in the beginning where my log wasn't running because I'm an idiot. So this isn't a full picture. I missed the first like opening burst of like 30 seconds of DPS on the opening spawn. But still, broadside beam support was 32k. Full broadside was 28k. Let's go look at this. Broadside did 43, broadside did 27. I lost some DPS here, but that was kind of just like the way the map went because it's Fez. It's got different zones. There's different timings between things. You can lose DPS to just the different tempo. So, but like overall, the same percentages, the same performance was here. Like I could have done much better with the other one. I think it's because of that lost time in the beginning. It's probably like maybe just from experience, maybe 100k less where it should be. So like this is still a weaker air quotes build. You're not supporting broadside beam support, but you are still getting the beams to the same place. You're not running Terran, so like you don't have the same you know, spiky damage, right? So like you were getting more out of this build. Beam wise, because you have the two narrow beams, you have the Terran beam. You had that going for you, right? And you don't hear. You're losing a little bit out of cryonics. You're not disabling as much as I was using phasers with that all have the disable proc on them. But like you weren't losing a ton. You lost a little bit of damage and you were way more durable, right? So like I don't know. I feel like part of this is the overemphasis on output, or that's like presented to people who are developing. It's about having the right durability. You don't need to be perfectly geared towards maximum output. It's just that like the counter argument is like the people who are arguing for like I need to have durability, are doing it with like you need to have all these nodes of hull restoration and all these nodes of like restore like shield regeneration and stuff, and you need to use Eng team and hazard emitters, and these are still really quite inefficient and effective heals, right? Like with the hull regeneration, we're talking about thousands of HPS, thousands plural of HPS out of hull regeneration, out of like, I mean, here's something funny, right? Let me switch back to the main. Oh, no. Let's 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 be funny for a second, right? Let's go to a shield that I've got re-engineered for regeneration, right? I've got the Kittimer shield regenerating on 4 times reg right now. Let's quickly, we can see it's 991 shields every 6 seconds. This is the weakness of shield regeneration right now, by the way. 991 divided by 6 is 165 shield health per second. Again, with the numbers we've been throwing around today, you can see that, what's the vibe there? That's kind of shit, isn't it? Now, you can say, "Oh, you have no points in shield restoration and your shield power is low." All right, all right, all right, all right. I hear you. I hear you. I hear you. Let's fix that. Let's fix that. Right? And you are getting it to 4 arcs, but like generally each arc is like, if an arc's open, you're taking hull damage. If it doesn't matter if your other arcs are filled up and stuff, you're taking like damage, right? So like the whole being split in 4 isn't quite a, well, you're getting 4 times the heals kind of thing. I think that kind of logic that was put in the beginning of the game has really hurt shield durability overall. That like the idea that because there's 4 arcs, you're getting 4 times the heals it isn't actually that good. But let's look at this, right? So I've got a shield battery equipped right now. So let's just max my shield power. It'll be 135, I believe. With the discovery core, I think it's an additional 5. So it's 130. 130 shield power. Let's see what it goes to real quick. And then after that, I will also pop quantum singularity manipulation to give myself the additional shield stats. I'll have 100 points in shield regeneration. Cool. All right, let's do this. So we've jumped up to, wow, 1988 shields. Now that's twice as much from having that up. Let's do that again. Wow, 3518 per 6 seconds. 3518 per 6 seconds. 586 HPS. So for 3 skill tree nodes, maxing your shield power and having all of your nodes on a shield on a remind you, regenerative shield array, which has a higher base shields. For all of that investment, we got 586 HPS. 1 arc. And this is where, and it only happens every 6 seconds, right? So that's a window in which you can get screwed. Because when people die, when you die, once you've built up, once you die, hey, Orles, it's going good. Just talking durability and talking Korfez. When you die, it happens quickly. Right? More often than not, you're not getting whittled away at in elite content, at least. It's, oh shit, I'm dead. 6 seconds is an eternity. So it doesn't matter how much you dump into this, which again, not efficient, right? Because like you can redistribute your shields, right? Oh, you can, but like redistribution happens at a fairly fixed rate. It is percentile. So like let's talk about that. Let me do a quick dump. Right? If I dump my shields, now they're going to start coming back every 6 seconds. You can see how I'm reinforcing my aft shield. Just by reinforcing it, yes, it came back twice as fast. Right? By stealing from the other arcs that were open and regenerating, It's still like took maybe 10 seconds. I should actually time that, right? Well, yes, or last. This is my game. This is what I do. Talk numbers. Build builds. We pull something up. Do this again. See how long it takes. Stop watch. And clear. Now, some of this return is that I'm getting a minor shield heal from Intel spec. It took around 12 seconds. So, like, logical, they were talking about giving us reasons to use and shield power. Um, Not so much like move away from running max weapons. I don't think, unless they completely redid how weapons work, I don't think we're gonna move away from slamming max weapons. But like, they want to give us reasons to like care about shield power, because right now shield power doesn't do a ton. Yeah, Ox and Edge power are super relevant. Like, we just use other things to consistently keep them up, right? Like, we have, I need my weapons. Um, Give me a second. Orless, sure. What's up, Orless? Oh, we're waiting for Orless to talk. Yeah, no, it's if I need, I need my weapons. Oh, for God's sake! All right, just give me 1 second to ban you, please. You know, I knew that's what you were gonna say, but like, you could have not, right? Like that would have been so easy. That would have been so easy, but you did. Bye. Okay. That's dealt with. Where was I? So I need my weapons to always be maxed, right? So I'm not going to like rely on a battery, which can at best give me 23% uptime on that power. I want my those to be always up all the time. My aux not necessarily need to be maxed all the time for like do builds, and I don't necessarily need all of that eng power going on because I can float enough and use EP to E, and that's enough. Like a little extra speed sometimes is nice, but I don't need it up all the time. I don't need my eng battery. Like that downtime of 10 seconds on maximum eng power, like I'm running EP to E2 on this build. That brings me to 96. There's at most, I'm not counting OSS or anything, at most another 34, that a battery's fueling. But that's not gonna like make a difference between me not getting somewhere I need to, right? Um but like not having that power on weapons is gonna like crush, my output, right? It's just that it's just so much more impactful and also just like relevant to what's going on. But yeah, like they've talked about looking at ways to make shields like less painful. Like they've talked about them like, hey, it's every 6 seconds instead of every 1 second. That's a problem. Like, and I don't think it's actually every 6 seconds. Just looking at it, right? So let me quickly get off of this. Um, I think I don't think there's a shield heal in here. All right, so drop this. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, yeah. So it is going off every 6 seconds. All right. Um, and if it took 12 seconds, so this should go. This should take 18 ish seconds, right? So hold on, let me do some quick math. And I'm if you haven't ever caught this, I'm dyscalculic. I need to do math. Like I need to use the calculator for everything. I cannot do numbers in my head. You will hear me say really rounded like guesses and like near rounding because I need to keep numbers very simple. If I want accuracy, I go right to the calculator because I can't hold numbers in my mind. Um, which is funny considering who I am and what I do. But no, I actually hate math. 8852 divided by 991 takes 9 ticks, so 9 by 6, 54 seconds. That's I mean that's the problem here, right? Like yeah, like it would take a minute for this shield to regenerate in combat. That's like sucks. Sucks. Like we were looking at my hull regen, it takes 400. So it takes for to regenerate my entire hull at 450% is like 60 by 5, right? So like 13 seconds to get the whole hull back. That's funny. That's comical, and it's happening every second. Like it's just what are we doing here, right? Like what make it feels just like yeah, like there are ways like I think their want is to fix this problem with a trait or something. Just I know this is probably gonna be rough, but like just kill the 6 seconds. Just bring it to like 2 seconds or something, or even 3 seconds, and like keep the regen stat the same, and maybe like and just like fine, right? Like keep it like what is that right now? Yeah. Um. Yes. And so like yeah, I don't know. But like I don't know, shield regeneration needs to be redone. Like it's way too weak. It either needs to be redone or they need to abandon it, leave whatever's here is here, and give us strong shield heals. Like it is what it is, right? Because like we can look at these, right? Like, do I have side team on it? Yeah, the side team is 1100 shield per facing every 15 seconds, right? Like Eng team was like it's pitiful, right? So well, back up because I closed it accidentally. Like we were talking about, Eng team. You can get 15k out of Eng team easy enough, right? With some investment. So like 5 by 50 is 1k HPS. This side team, right, is 1170 times 4. We're again granting it at the facing. Like even doubling that for like a lot of investment, right? Divided by 15 is still half. It's still half. Like why? Why is it that bad? Why is it that bad? And you're right, like, thematically, it's Star Trek. The chip damage was to the hull, the main defense was the shields. We've got this backwards. But it's because they made hull cap and hull regeneration, percentile and scaling in the way it is. Hulls are just so much more durable. Like all of our resists, all the good resistor on hulls, all the good ways to get resistor on hulls. Like they put so many limitations on shields that they just became so much less useful to staying alive without more investment. And we've never haven't had anything come out that flipped that paradigm, right? It's like in the end, and this is the conceptual flaw here, in the end, if you lose your shields, you're still alive. If you lose your hull, you're dead. So in the end, and shields have bleed through, so you will always be taking hull damage. So no matter how good your shields are, you always have to at least make sure you have some hull durability that can survive the chip damage that you're going to face. Right? You don't need to invest in shields in that same way. There's not an actual imperative for it. The imperative is if I lose my hull, I die. And so long as bleed through damage exists, it's going to be a problem for the way you have to build. You will always have to provide some amount of hull investment, no matter what you do. Now, there are ways to do that. Eliminate bleed through. There's two big ones. One of them is from, I believe it was the Ring Kodan. It is a console that spawns a drone for 20 seconds that shuts off bleed through. Where are you? Where are you? Where are you? Don't remember the name of you. You are here. I know you are. I just had you out the other day. It's mentioned in a chat somewhere. You'll find. Subphasic defense drone. Thing with subphasic defense drone that it is a spawned thing. It only has 11k HP, and unlike modern hangar pets, it does not have warp core breach immunity. But while it's up, you have no bleed through going on, and a minor shield heal, and just a small shield heal, which is fine. I intend to take this out into some real combat at some point to see how hard it is to keep alive. But there is one other way to kill bleed through. That's this. It's a competitive consumable. It gives you 40% shield cap for 15 minutes, and it prevents normal damage from bleeding through to shields for the same duration. It costs like 700 dill. No, it's only usable in a competitive map or a PvP map. And it sticks through map transfers. It's basically prototype of Blade of Jevonite hardpoints. It just can only be used in certain maps. But it doesn't care that you've changed maps. It sticks. So if you want to run a shield build right now and like have some dill and have a buddy that can load into a PvP map before you do some play, this exists. I mean, yeah, no, personally, like the increased max hull point, 20% extra hull cap, sure. But like not having bleed through and you're running a shield build, you can, with a shield invested build, you can make your shields effectively immortal. The only thing that could kill you through them is the bleed through. This shuts that off. That makes sense, right? Um, I've talked about it with the league kids. We're developing policy on it. I think right now we're leaning to not banning it in play. Um, it's just a thing you can do. It's not game changing. It just allows shield. It allows shield builds to have some parity. It works in Karat. Cool. I wasn't sure if it qualified. Yeah, no, I mean you can go into a if you can go into a public map, that's even more like just hey, with the word this is legal, we can do it. So if it's feasible in Karat, I'm cool. Legal. So yeah, we'll be talking about a lot of that stuff. I have an Oscar meeting happening tomorrow for codifying some rules and talking about some stuff we want to develop into parser. Like we're planning, we're gonna be pushing. No, I have absolutely no desire to buy PvP. Last time I seriously played PvP was in 2016. Um, I have done a couple pug stomp between then and now. I have no desire for it to come back. Not like PvP as it is right now. I do not think it is good. That because of the nature of Stowe and the pricing structure, without mechanical or artificial restrictions, it's not good. It's just wildly unbalanced and always will be, unless we get to something that has its own contained thing, which I don't think Cryptic should spend time on. And like, yeah, I mean, it's the thing is they're getting more experimental, but that also means that like they're throwing things out that screw up PvP. There's like heavy controls and debuffs and stuff, and just makes it and they're not gonna keep up with it. They're not gonna balance around it. They shouldn't. But yeah, 3 more minutes. All right. So we've got this going on. Let's go jump into something far less developed. Let's go build something a little more C story. Should I try something purely like largely passive? Did I I'm loath to seeing like you know crates my baby, but like I might as well. What should I do? Run a Kerala? I don't want to do like a legendary because that kind of defeats the purpose. But, like some of my favorite ships are Legos. You know what I'm gonna do? I don't especially if I'm gonna just do something purely passive. I haven't X2'd this. This was my first ship. The Presidio was my first build boat. Like I had ships before it, but when I started playing the game for real, I bought a Presidio, and this was my like 60K. Like I got in. I joined the fleet of a YouTuber, Captain Shack. He had interviewed me for a mod I was working on for years, several times. So we were friendly, and he had just started doing a YouTube series on Star Trek Online, and I had been playing Star Trek Online, since beta, and something I come back to every now and again. And 2016 was like kind of a weird year for me, so I got in and I helped them start their fleet and like educated myself on like how things worked for real because I'd been playing the game for a long time, but I didn't really like dive into it, right? Um, that's when I started meeting everyone. Like that was the summer of PvP where I met Spencer. Um, and that's when I started not too long after that, it's when I started like writing build posts on Stow builds. And then started writing articles for real on Stow builds. Like before it started with like, hey, here's my build, how can it be better? Then it started turning into like here's some thoughts and concepts. Um but the Presidio was before I owned the Yorktown, the first ship I did for real for real. Thing is, I don't. Well, I could buy some Zen right now. It's the beginning of the month. I have some money. Um, yeah. What the hell? For nostalgia's sake, what the hell? I wish I don't have the Concord visuals though, and like the Presidio's dated as hell. I'm torn, guys. I kind of wanna, but like I also feel like I'd need to buy the Concord to feel good about it. Uh. Oh, you know what? I'm not gonna do this right now. I might do this in a bit, sort of a like bring my old ship back into spec because I'm completing the campaign tomorrow, so I'll have a T6 coupon. I can buy the Concord visuals, um, and then do that. That's what I'll do. Is I'll do the Presidio next stream. I'll do like a whole nostalgia bait thing, like, hey, this was the first ship I did. Um, and I'll do that later. And then I'll have like I'll set aside some resources and pick up some X tokens and like make it the best it can be. I'll do that then. That'll be a fun little stream. Um, what do I want to do? What would be funny? I think the Sagittarius would be funny. I think going going into Corfez in a Sagittarius would be funny. Do I have a fleet sag? I think I have a fleet sag in my dry dock. Here it is. I don't have any X tokens right now, so let me just... Okay. See, this is where I take a second because like I almost all of these are either like 01 or something punny. Okay. What's up, SFC? Is something not working chat wise, SFC? I can see both um Twitch and YouTube. I just haven't set it up to reel it. Oh, is it not working properly right now? What the hell? In the overlay? Crap. Okay, give me 1 second. I'll try and fix that. Damn. All right, so that was working last time. I wonder what broke. Let me. Okay, if someone wouldn't mind typing again to make sure that works from YouTube, please. Uh, uh, Yay! It showed up. Thank you. All right. Well, that's upsetting. Quickly, do I own all the parts? I do. So let's like. It's funny because like these, I forgot it like is either one or the other. All right. Well, if that's the case, I'm sticking with the SAG. Gotta love old school stow garbage stuff. All right. So let's see here. What skins do I at least have available right now? Well, so it's not even that great. It's so old as hell. All right, well, let's play with vanity shields out in space. All right, so same deal. We're gonna go something much simpler, really beefed up. We're gonna go piezo again. Um, I'm not gonna use green free fire here. We're doing more like free to not whale stuff here. I feel a little like awkward. Do it. It'll be fine. Right. Do I stick with the oven? I kind of wanna. It's not really that huge on Fez. It's a little extra, like it helps. Not like crazy good. Am I gonna stick with redirecting arrays, or am I gonna use ET? I think I'm gonna use ETM. So if I'm gonna use ETM, morph. That'll be sufficient. But let's do it. Let's commit and do full passive. So we'll do all here because it was recent. Let's commit. Let's commit. Um, let's just scale all the way back, I think. Go with 4. All here. And I think we'll still use epsilon here because of the passive. I'll keep uncon. No, we're So, should I keep uncon and simulate an invested player who hasn't burned money on Vovin, or should I just go pure passive? I'll leave it up to you guys. What do you want to see here? And by pure passive, like we can still use active consoles, but I'm not going to bring cooldown. And while you're all debating amongst yourselves, I will find a build that I like. Polaron mags in there, or at least run. Come on, kids, I need a verdict. Uncon or no? Go uncon. More. This should be a significant hit to performance, but it should still be more than enough. Whether or not it can survive is another question. Um, what was I gonna? This doesn't want as much threat. It's Intel Agent. I'm gonna bring Yielding Feint. I'm gonna like not Yielding Feint. Face the ground one. What's the space one? It's been so long. Veto submission. All right. Like I was gonna bring Nova, but it's whether or not like uncon, But I'm just gonna go pure classic, nothing going on. All right, so let's see here. So we need. Oh my god, no, I need this to be attacked. Felix does. Oh no, Felix does not have. Oh, but I know SRO Tech 1 does. All right, let's think about this. Here I have rapid fire in place. Let's uh bring we have Torp spread. We are going to be using torpedo spread for ETM. We're not caring about Heisenberg. That's right, we're not caring about Heisenberg. So we'll bring chemo. Actually, you know what? I'm caring about durability. I'll sacrifice that too. I'll bring tac team. I'll be cautious. Be cautious. Build cautious. No, you know what? I'm gonna do this. We leverage this in the old way. Calliope, does Calliope have roll? I'm going to bring Chronometric Conversion Field for damage. No. Yes, and then I'm gonna bring Reverse Shield Polarity. We're gonna have Officer 1. I have M1. I'm gonna bring Concealed Repairs. Fine. Electric. Supercharge. That feels good. That feels C story. Drop Radiant, I think. Automated Protomatter. Gonna go real hard into staying alive. Oxid Damp or Structural. While I'm thinking about that, I'll be right back. I gotta go handle. Okay. Yeah. Let's new question is, do I want the durability, the placate, or do I want the mobility? I need the mobility. I need the mobility. I'm gonna drop pseudo and Yeah, that's fine. Then we just need to clear out my doth. Cool. 7. Let's go grab Doll. Doll's so good. Doll's so slept on. This kind of person would have like blue EWOs. I don't even have very rare EWOs. 30. A blue. I don't even need a quartermaster in this build. Let's get some PWOs in here. Get the Morph Torp a little more snappy, I think. The most comp TFO? What do you mean? Real quick. Again, this is dialing this all the way back. We're going into something like way lower in cost than what I was running earlier. This is relatively passive. I need to set up my array. Um, this is gonna be a little painful for me. Um, I really like active styles of play. This is not my bag anymore. You know, it's been a minute. Oh, yeah, it is definitely among one of the more difficult TFOs. Like, amount of high DPS you can take at any given point. Uh like it's up there. There you've got Shattered Alliance at the end anyways. You've got Korfez, you've got Zenkethi Front, you've got Pearl over Pavo and Draenor Gauntlet. Certain Draenor Gauntlets anyways, like certain like Tholian and are pushovers, but like both of those have the potential to be really difficult. Um Yeah, it's mostly just like the oldest Borg ones that we run all the time. It's a combination of us knowing how to kill them really well and the fact that Borg are kind of fairly weak, just overall. They have some like the Borg Negvars are actually kind of scary if you don't, but that you only face like one at a time or maybe two at a time at most. Like if you ended up fighting more Borg Klingon ships, those would be scarier than like the normal ones. It's funny. Um, Let me think here. I'm putting myself in the mindset here. Let's go with Hazard Emitters 3. In that case, let's bring Yielding Feint back, because that'll be on a pseudo submission. Wow, I'm stuck in ground. Bring that back just to, you know, be there. Um set up my trays properly. Come on. Alright, so let's don't need this here, so do I lean into the I need shield stuff? What battery would do me best here? I suppose. You know what I'll do? I'm tempted. Let me think. Not running any additionals. I'll save that trick for another demonstration. Yeah, Borg maps also have no time gates. That is another point. Um, I'll bring hull patches. All patches and energy amplifiers. There. I'm just gonna use what I have. Okay. Let's plot this stuff out. Set up my trays. Do 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 do. Bonus points to anyone who caught that. Okay. Did I get this all set up? Oh, I did. No, what the hell? Let's go all the way in. Let's just go all the way in. Run Miracle Worker primary and Strategist secondary, and just be like, be that person. Be that person, guys. Let's scared. Let's be scared. And like this is like legit. This is the build of someone who's a little scared. Yeah. Like there's a lot of regen here. Let's just do it. But scared. This is a build of someone who is quite scared. We're gonna see how that pans out, right? I feel like this is actually gonna struggle real hard. Oh, I should use a fab engineer. What am I doing? So yeah, let's just wait for that to pop. As I was saying, like this is really the setup of someone who is quite scared. Um, it really, really, really focuses on durability. Um, it is on the lower end of budget, right? So like there aren't as many strong spiky stuff going on, and since we're going purely passive, like we're not bringing uncon into the picture, there are like those spike heals start to really lessen in value that are console based because you can only get them every 2 minutes. And you know, you're in trouble. If you're in trouble, right, you're gonna be in trouble again much sooner than 2 minutes. So then you've got a whole slot that doesn't doing anything for you for those 2 minutes. Like that's why Uncon, that's why Vovin, that's why To Hell with Our Orders were all such big steps forward in the way people um the steps the way in which we play the game. Like it allowed us to actually have tools to be responsive. Yeah, no, like you should you should lean into durability as you're growing up, right? But it's about like the tools available to you very early in your development are very poor for durability, just very, very poor by and large, with like some exceptions, like uh, concealed repairs. Concealed repairs is insanely good for how much it costs, both in build space, EC, its starship trait, a bridge officer ability, and like less than a million EC. Like that's so good for like a 33% heal over time. Like that's every 45 seconds. Like for elite content, that is like mandatory equip for getting into elites. IMO. Like you need this. If you haven't spent any money on the game yet, like this is like a mini DPRM that you can get for almost free and should stay with you until you can get something that does what it does. Because like we talk about slot efficiency and like magnitude of effect, right? So like what's gonna do me better there? Something that will give me a few thousand HPS every 45 seconds for like a 10-second go, or like something that'll give me like a little bit extra damage in the long, just a little bit extra. Like if I'm at 300,000 DPS, something that gives me 15,000, 20,000 more, right? Like when I don't have other things that are giving me thousands of HPS, value for the slot is very heavily in the favor of the durability tool. Once you've solved that problem elsewhere in the build, sure, that calculus changes. But people are so quick to abandon things for like smaller output tweaks, right? It's not often the right choice. And it's hard for them to like evaluate that without parsing, which a lot of people simply don't do. And like not and like people who parse just like the majority of them just look at the first screen and see their DPS number. They don't go into the analysis screen. They don't go look at like if they go into the analysis screen, they might look at sources, but then they're not taking the next step and looking at like IDPS. They're not going into damage out, heals out, like rather the damage taken, the heals out, and analyzing like, well, how much damage did I actually take in a run? Like, okay, cool. I did good for me. Like I did a few 100,000 DPS, but like how threatened was I actually? Was someone else holding the threat? Was I actually like at any point facing real danger? If so, like you're not gonna you shouldn't build confidence in your own durability until you know you've been punched in the face for real, right? Like that's one of the biggest mistakes people make is that they start thinking, "Oh, I'm good at this. I'm here. I'm doing damage." Like and then they add a little bit more damage, just a little bit too much damage, and suddenly they're taking room aggro and falling apart. Just blowing up left and right. I don't know about that. I mean, this isn't like a me talking down at these people. Like they it's a learning process. And like with how heavy everyone talks about DPS, of course they're gonna look at DPS first, and then they're gonna look at the screen with a ton of numbers, and like I don't want to look at that. It's a whole goddamn spreadsheet with dozens of things, and they don't know what any of it means, and they don't know how to think about it. So like I don't blame people for not wanting to deep dive. It's just I mean they should take a minute to peek around and draw some conclusions, but no one teaches them how to think that way, right? See here, this should be like 140 something all cap, 155. So this is a pretty chunky boat. 155 for me is like relatively high. I've gotten higher, like on bigger, heavier, high hull mod ships. With the way I build, the most I usually see is 180. Like I don't over invest into hull cap. I get enough, you know.
Vodwar
Wonder how many of you are in here.
Please state the nature of your emergency.
Warning. Ship is under attack.
I'm gonna be more conservative here. I'm not going to rush. I'm not gonna try and get opening aggro. I'm just gonna hang back a little bit, let the map start to play out a little bit. Heal to the side. Needed to get out of there real quick, because as I said, I expect to like find myself in trouble. My output's going to be significantly lower. That wasn't so bad. I was in a little bit of trouble. Yeah, logical. That's very much something that like new people will absolutely struggle with, like understanding the feel of variance, like understanding that like how much someone's inflated DPS affects you, like what it feels like being in the room with someone doing 2 million versus someone in the room doing 1 million. No, they're different things. Okay, we're doing all right. I really hope I get Bentham so you can see how much that's gonna hurt me. You... Yeah, I'm mostly planning on doing a ton of, like, DPS support in Fez. I'm gonna go in with a lot of builds that are, like, high output, but also kick out a ton of team boosting, and see if I can't give some people the time of their lives, you know?
Self-established ships breaking through our defense line.
Did anyone catch what that was? That I think it said Benthen? I did not read it. Nope, it's solar. It's asteroid. All right, so this is actually scary enough. This is scary enough.
Ship is under attack.
Oop, I'm in trouble. I'm in trouble. As you can see, like, I'm I am struggling more because I am exposed to more, you know, output from longer, and I have to like my problems to my solutions to problems don't come up as often. So like, it hurts, but I am still top deeps here, and we are still succeeding. I would not want to be playing Benthans. We would be losing ships. This would be a close one if we were playing on a Benthan.
South of Onmore ships breaking through our defense line.
So you can see I'm taking polar and bombardment. Reverse shield polarity 2 is keeping me up through it. I'm not in trouble if I got hit by 2 in a row. But that's only while RSP is up. Which with this, I believe 24 seconds is less than 50% uptime. So like you do have to be able to survive that downtime, right? All right. Now let's see if we can clear Implacable with this team.
Pushing the Valar
I'm
back.
not terribly hopeful, but we'll see. Now, also note that I do have all of these Endeavor things going on, so like I would not be quite as tanky if I was on a clean account. Let's see what happens here. All right, we're doing all right. We're doing all right. It's gonna jump. I think it's gonna jump. All right, we got this.
Excellent work. I'll admit, I was skeptical that you would.
All right, so this is actually a good reference point, right? So on a completely passive build with largely like free to play stuff on the gear and just all C store traits and one thing here and like a decent chunk of really great personal traits. Uh, this worked, right? This worked. I was like every now and again I was a little scared of what was happening, and like I did not need to be as durable in some ways as others. Like a lot of these heals aren't going to be seen in a parse because they are all done with ways that don't generate log lines. Um, but like I was, if you brought a team of nothing but this build, you would clear it, and you would clear it better than we did in this run. Is I guess the point. Like cut away all the endeavors, this would probably drop down to like 150k DPS, and it would be a lot less survivable. But like it would also still be survivable enough, and the whole team would be good enough to run this, to make it through, right? And we could peel this back further. I could like go grab a completely budget setup, and it would feel bad. It would feel bad. It would be sub 100k. Like completely budget, really like if the whole team was at and good pilots, you could do it, but it would suck. And that's okay. I don't want completely budget basic setups to be like crushing Korfez, right? Like I want it to be doing enough that you feel like you're contributing and still are scared. Have reason to want to grow, right? That's a good thing. So like this requires very minimal engagement. Like you just got to time your reverse field polarity. You want to throw your quantum magic conversion field down on bigger things. Save your jam sensors with concealed repairs for when you're in trouble. Like you just need to like keep moving and play smart, right? All right. So I've been streaming for 3 hours. I think I want to wind down. I believe I've made my point of running through this from different tiers and going through durability plans and why like some things are good and some things are bad, and that I've hopefully shown a lot of accessible ways to be okay at Fez. Um, I'll probably stream again tomorrow night after the um, Oscar meeting, which is at 6, so I might start streaming around now tomorrow night. If you all want to show up and we can like maybe do some build review. If anyone wants to submit stuff when we can talk about things. Maybe I'll do that. Maybe I'll make that a thing. Build review Saturdays. As you guys like that idea? Yeah, no, thanks for showing up, Death Boy. Yeah, of course, no worries. I'll probably post something about it, setting up some sort of like schedule or whatever to stop. I intend to like add this. I'm like some like mass drop real talk here. Like I am kind of really struggling right now, and I really need consistency and like structure. So having something that like I'm doing consistently at the same time every week would be helpful. So I'm gonna try and establish a schedule uh and do this like maybe twice a week on 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 schedule, like on a regular time. Figure out what the best time for everyone is. But I'm feeling like Saturdays and like Wednesdays or something, middle of the week, end of the week, catch a different group of people. Um, anyways, yeah, I'll see you around. Thanks for showing up. I'll come up with a catchphrase at some point. Later.